Yeah. Yesterday we talked about user redirection. Like we saw example for design time redirection and runtime redirection. So we took an example of hyperlink, link button, image button, as well as response.redirect and server.transfer. So what is the basic difference between hyperlink, link button, image button is like hyperlink can hold a text and image as a link, whereas link button is a standard button which will provide us the link to redirect. So image button will only provide the link to the image, not to the text. Okay, link button will have only text, no image. So this is the basic difference between these three, right? The response.redirect is used to redirect to any website, to any web page or to any website within the server or outside the server. Okay, server.transfer is used to redirect the responses, redirect to a new page within the website. Okay, server.transfer will be more faster because it is in the same server. So simply when we use server.transfer, it will directly post, client will post back to the web server, and web server will find the page like contact.aspx, as it will be in the same web page, and it will check that if it is found, it will send the response to the client. Okay, when it comes to response.redirect, first client will post back to the web server will send the response back, response header. Okay, then it gets the new page, then the response will be sent. That's why it is bit slower. Okay, so when we use response.redirect, that the destination URL, whatever the URL we mentioned, that will be visible in the address bar. When we use server.transfer, the destination URL will not be visible. Okay, so that is the difference between those two. I think we covered. Sorry. Just a second. Previously, we covered text box button and link button, right? So we see an example for checkbox control. We see an example for checkbox and radio buttons. Okay. Then we'll jump on to validation controls. Yes, tell me.
Sir, we discussed this. Now I got.
Okay. Okay. Time, guys, I'll just repeat once again. So I have a page like registration.aspx. I think we discussed about add, subtract, multiple division. These,
Yes, sir.
but not about radio button and checkbox, I guess.
Sir, we discussed, sir. Radio button.
Okay, no problem. So from the toolbox, we can use checkbox list, drop down list, okay, or radio button and radio button list. So we have different controls for different purposes. Like when we use radio button, so we can only select one of the option. Okay, so we can only select one of the option among the available options. When it comes to checkbox, we can select multiple values. Okay, so you can just drag and drop and give the name whatever you want. Just drag it and give the text, add here. So all the common properties with the other controls. So this is one of the important property, like auto post back. Okay, automatically posts back to the server when the control is clicked. So when I click this, when I select this option, do you want to post it back to the server or not? If you want to post it back to the server, you have to set this to true. This is the important property. Okay, so by default it will be false. If you want, we can set it to true. So causes validation, if we want to perform any validations, we can set this to true. Okay, enabled property, whether it is enabled or disabled. So that property. And group name, one of the important properties, group name. Suppose here I have a label called operation type, right? So I have 4 options. So out of these 4 options, if I want to select only one option, I have to set a group name. Okay, If I want to select only one option, I have to set a group name. So that is what this property is. So if I set it arithmetic, right? So if I set arithmetic to all these properties, I can select only one option from this group, right? Next, validation group, we will see it in the next session. The ID, RBN, RDB, radio button, add, okay? Whether it is checked or not. By default, if it is checked, we can set it to true. Okay? That way it will be checked, right? Next, checkbox property. Okay, so same properties, almost same. Auto post back true, text cricket, causes validation, enabled tooltip, validation group. If you want to set a validation group, we can set here ID, whether it is checked or not, false. Okay, it is not checked, so false. So volleyball, one of the checkbox here. So not checked, false, and auto post back is true. See here, cricket, for cricket also I set auto check, auto post back true. Volleyball I also set auto checkbox true, auto post back true. For tennis, see here it is false. So I'll run and show you the difference. So what is that property? See here, when I am clicking this for cricket and volleyball, I set auto post back to true, which means when I click this, the request will be submitted to the server. When I select tennis, the request will not be submitted to server. So just check, when I click this, the page will reload. Just check here, just check this part. See here, it is reloaded. I'm checking volleyball again, just check the part, that part, top part. So it is reloaded. So when I check tennis, it won't reload because I did not set that. I don't want to submit the value. See here, nothing happened. So when I uncheck also, see that it is reloading. Okay. So that is the use of auto post back. So the default event, when I double click it, it will generate a default event, checked change. Okay. So I'll take some label and I think we have label. Yes, LBL result I have. LBL result dot text and just set some text here. Simply. I'm just setting the text of the label. Pioneers can just refer these controls and their default events. See here, checked. Okay. So when I uncheck, I have to write uncheck. So that we can handle, whether it is checked or not, you can check that. So to debug it, so you just put a breakpoint here, right? Put a breakpoint, just click on it. So the breakpoint will hit. So you can see here, what is the sender? Sender is the checkbox control. See the options, auto post back true, back color, all the properties of that checkbox control we can see here. Tag name, taggy like that, text cricket. So based on this text, you can check, or ID, based on ID, you can write the conditions like if sender.text equal to checked cricket. So cricket is checked, like that you can define. Okay, event arguments. So this is a few arguments related to the event. We will see it about it in the future. Okay, so the sender is the cricket checkbox. Based on the text, you can write some logic here. Like if you select the cricket option is selected. If you deselect it, cricket option is deselected. That way you can write the code here. Okay, that is an assignment for you guys. Just check that. Okay, so when we are clicking tennis, request is not submitting. See here, request is not submitting. Okay, and one more thing. So I'll double click on tennis. Okay. So event is generated. Default event is generated. Checked changed event. So I'll show you some basic difference. So, but I did not set the auto post back. See here, auto post back is still false, but I have a default event, checked changed event. So I will see whether the event will fire or not. Okay. See here, I'm selecting tennis, nothing is happening, but I have an event to file, but it is not hitting because auto post back is false. It won't submit the request to the server. It will not post back to the server. So if we set that only, it will post and it will execute the whatever the code we wrote here. Okay. So if you want to do that, just go to tennis checkbox property, auto post back, set it to true and just run it. See here, now it will post back to the server. See, tennis check. Okay. This is the important property which you have to practice, and the events only checked changed is the only event. Okay. So this is about radio button, and then next checkboxes. I think we talked about displaying. Just a second. I'll check whether this will work or not. Just a second. I have one example prepared. Yeah. Okay. I thought of showing this example to you guys. So we till now we saw about only checkbox and radio button. We have another property called checkbox list, radio button list. Okay. So for that, I think I have prepared an example. See here, I have a radio button list control here. So it is a list of, it will like here. So we are giving the options at the design time. Okay. Here we are giving the options at design time. But I may have a situation like I have to display a list of cities or some list values that I'll get it from DB, and I have to display it on the HTML page or my web page. So for that case, we can go for radio button list. If you want to give options list through programmatically, we can go for lists. Okay. So I have different options here. One color list and using array list and some cities, all with the help of radio button. I just dragged and dropped. Okay, and I set some property names. That's it. Here I set RBL list items. Here I set RBL cities like this. Here I set radio button list 1. I did not set any name to this. And this is RBL list again. Okay. So the related code is this automatically generated, right? So I wrote some code here. See here, string array colors list. So I took some colors, which is a string array. Okay. And for the control, for the first control, this, what is that? So this is the control, RBL list. The control name is, the control ID is RBL list, I set. Okay. So we can set the items list here also, like I can add an item, list item here. This is by design time. If you want it from programmatically, if you want the list of values programmatically, we can set like this. Okay. So I took a string array colors list. So the data source RBL list is the radio button list control and its data source property. So we are setting the source of the list. gets or sets the object from which data bound control retrieves its list of data items. So what data items we want to bind to that list? So for that, I said string array. And to bind this data, so we use a data bind method. Binds a data source to the invoked server control and all its child controls. Okay. To bind this data, we have to call data bind method. Right. This is the way of setting programmatically. So you can get the values from database like cities, and you can bind that to a radio button list programmatically like this. Okay. So this is a page load event. Whenever this page is getting loaded, all the whatever the required operations you want to perform, you can set that inside this page load event. Page load is the event, default event of the page. Okay. Whenever we request for RBL, first it will check whether the RBL page is present or not. If it is present, then it will load this class and compile it, and it will render it, and it will send the response back to the server, right? So that time it will load the event page load, and it will execute all the code that we wrote here, right? This is using array list, string array way of setting it to RBL list. Next, we can also use dictionary, like kind of key value pair, integer string. So this is, I'm setting it to cities list, this one. Okay. So one is ID, string Hyderabad is the name, like this. So here we have another option like data text field. So data text field. So we have key value pair, right? So text field, whatever we see it on the control, like when we run it, here we are seeing, right? Like tennis, cricket, like that we are seeing. That is called text field. So the ID field will be different. That we call as a value field. Generally, value field will be IDs, text field will be text or value, key value. So we will see this example. I'll reverse it and I'll show you why we use this data text field, data value field. Same thing like source, data source, and data bind method. Okay. Next, we have one more control, RBL list items. So we can also add like this, RBL list items dot items. This is the control, radio button list control. For it, we will have items. So to add items, we use add method. Okay. Control items dot add list item. So it is of type list item. So I'm adding new list item, text 1 value 1, text 2 value 2, text 3 value 3. So this is the way of adding values. I'll just run and check. So I only bind 3 controls out of 4. So here colors list, whatever the colors I passed, it is displaying. Then cities, whatever the cities I passed, it is displaying. Using list item, I added 3 items, so it is displaying. So this is the way of adding list items programmatically, right? So I'll show you this example, like I'll show you a data field, data text field, data value field. So the data text field, what I'm setting here, value. So text field is value. This is key and this is value. So Hyderabad will be displayed here because I'm setting it as a text field. So if I set key, so 1, 2, 3 will be displayed. Okay. That is the difference here. Just see the difference, key value. See here. Okay, this is the difference. Text field, which text we want to, which field we want to display as a text to the radio button. So if I set key, 1, 2, 3 will be displayed. If I set value, Hyderabad, Vizag will be displayed. Suppose I have student IDs, student objects, list of student objects. So I want to display student name as student name beside the radio button. So I can set, I'll take student list of student objects and I'll set that as a data source here. And I'll give student name property, value as student ID property. That way we can display any collection. So the data source is a collection. Okay. Collection, either it can be array or some list or some generic array, generic list, anything. It can be kind of collection only. It accepts a collection. Okay, gets us object from which data bound control retrieves its list of data items. Okay. So this is a way of setting. The same with checkboxes also. We just will replace that. That's it. So I'll show that example for 2 minutes. So I'll take checkbox list. So this is my list. Sorry. So I'll name it. CB list, checkbox list. Okay. So to set that, I'll use the same this one. CB list dot data source equal to color list. Okay. So CB list dot data bind. Just run it and I'll show you the difference. See here, cities list, color list. So we can select multiple here, but whereas here we can select only one value. So we wrote code programmatically, but when we check it, right click and check, so it will generate all the list. See, this is the way rendering will be performed. Like server side code will be generated and client understandable code will be sent as a response. See here, CBL list, checkbox, deep link. Checkbox, deep sky blue, like that it will, the ASPX engine will give us the response back to the client through rendering concept. We saw execution flow, right? So ASPX in IAS request will go to IAS. ASPX engine will generate a page class. Page class will be compiled. CLR will perform 3 tasks. It will convert all the client side code, server side code to client understandable code, and response will be given back. Okay. So this is about different controls and their usage. Okay. Now next thing is like validations. So why do we need validations? Why do we need to perform validations? I think we saw an example. So I have a form like this. Can some use that? Can you go on mute? Ishwar, I guess. So we saw an example like this. So we have different controls like name, phone, email. Which tags do you require? Car, van, truck. Extras, extra features you want to opt, and pick up date, pick up place, drop place, and some special instructions, and then submit button, submit booking. So I have this form. So I'm asking user to enter, fill these details. So all these are required fields. Okay. To confirm a booking, I need all these fields. So I'm not performing any validations here. What will happen? So I'll enter only name. So I don't want to enter all these properties, and I'll click submit. Okay, what will happen that time? So you need all these properties to confirm a taxi, but if you won't perform validations, and when user clicks on this and click submit button, you will get the partial information, right? So to avoid that, so we use validations. And also, like when I click submit, the request will be submitted to server. So at server side, you will check whether all details are entered or not. If not entered, you will throw an error in the form of validation message that will be displayed here. Please enter phone, please enter email, please select taxi type, please select pickup date, please select place, please select drop place, like that. And again, I'm entering phone number and clicking submit button. So again, request will go to server and comes with a message like, please enter email ID, please select a taxi type, right? So if we want to perform validations like required fields or email ID should be in a proper format. So I can also enter like this, but this is not a valid email. I can also give 1234556 as a phone number, but it is not a valid phone number, right? To check all these constraints, so we use validations. So validations can be performed two ways. Okay, one is at client side and another is at server side. Okay, so why do we need validations? To ensure the quality of the data or proper data, to get the proper data from the user, to get the proper data in the required format, we will perform validations. So whenever we are clicking on submit button, it is saying that we are submitting this form to the server. So at the server side, we will check whether all the required data in the required format received or not. If all are received, then we will do the background process. Otherwise, we will return the error messages to the client or end user. Okay, so whenever we are clicking on submit button, it is going to server and checking the validations at the server side. That we call as a server side validation. So even we can so here we have 10 controls. So if I write server side validations, and if I am only entering name and clicking on submit button, the request will go to server and it will ask for phone number, email. Again, I'll enter only phone number and I'll again click on submit button and request will go to server and again it will throw error. So if we write at server side, the validations at server side, it will be a costly process because the request has to go to server has to process it and it has to send a response back to the client. So to avoid that, so we will perform validations at client side only, which means on the browser. So on clicking a button, okay, or while designing the form itself, we can check, we can set what properties are required, what properties are not required, what type of data we are expecting, like that. So we can set those properties or those validations at client side. We can check on clicking the button itself without submitting back to the server. We call them as a client side validations, server side validations, client side validations. Depending upon the requirement, we use client side validations, we use server side validations. Suppose if it is related to some logic, business logic, we perform validations at client server side. If it is basic like data entry related operations, like whether field is selected, whether field is entered or not, whether field is in the required format or not, for that we only perform client side validations. Okay, better to write client side validations wherever possible. Don't misuse the powers of server, don't misuse the resources of the server, and it will waste the user time also. Like you have a like you might have filled some forms like MSET related forms, right? You will select colleges and you will select the options, priorities, and that. So if you don't perform validations there, like for one college you are giving one option, 2, 3, like that, priorities. So if you won't have that validations and you selected 60 colleges, in each college you are setting priorities, and if you miss something, so it will be difficult to find out where you are missing the sequence. So if you don't have validations there, so it is difficult to, like, if you have selected 60 courses, 60 colleges, okay, like around 3000 change options you are setting. So if you miss one sequence number, if you don't perform validations, it is difficult to find out, right? So that way, so validations should be handled, most of the validations should be handled at client side, like required field, comparison related, format related. Only the logical, business logic related validation should be performed at server side. Okay, just a second. So uses of validations is to ensure the proper data received at client server side. Okay, proper data, required data, right? Types of validations, client side and server side. So, and then next, types of validation controls. We have different validations control, different in ASP.NET, like required field validation control. Suppose username is must, so we can set it as a required field validation. Okay, compare validator to compare two text boxes or to compare value in a text box with a some default value, like that. So range validator, min max related validations we can perform with range validator. Regular expression validator, email, phone number, some pin code kind of validations can be performed with regular expressions. So for that we use regular expression validator. Next, custom validator. So if above all 4 validations does not meet our criteria, does not meet our logic, then we can write our own custom validator. Okay. The next, validation summary. Validation summary is not a control, like not a validation control, but it is used as a it is used to display list of error messages. Okay, in a form, if you have different controls and if you want to display them under a group, okay, for that we use validation summary to display all the like all the error messages at one place. We use validation summary. So these are the controls, validation controls we have in ASP.NET. So all these controls will run at server side. Okay, all these controls will run at server side. So what will happen when we use them? So first, for the first time, all the controls will run at server side and equivalent client side script will be generated and the response will be given to browser. Now browser will handle the request, handle these validations at client side. So for the first time when the page is getting loaded, so these controls will run at server side and equivalent client side script will be generated by the server and that will be given to browser. So in the browser, when we click something or when we submit something, so these validations will be performed at client side, right? Suppose I have a form and I have 10 controls and I have used validation control on each property. Once all properties are valid, then it will allow to submit us. If one property or one control is invalid, one control is failing for validations, it won't allow to submit. So that is a way of handling the form controls with validations. So whenever we use these controls, these will run at server side for the first time, and equivalent client side code will be generated, and from the next time onwards, those will run at client side. So the execution will happen at client side, but the converted code, whatever the converted code from server control, will be executed from server and will be given back to client. Okay. All validations controls will run at server side. Whenever a validation control is run at server side, equivalent HTML and JavaScript code is generated. Just remember that that thing. So next, types. These are the types, and we see properties with each control. So how do we use them and all? So let me take this example. Now I have a first number field here, second number field here. I want to set required field validation to this. First number is required, second number is required to perform the addition operation, right? So for that, so I'll set required option here, validation here. So these are all the standard controls. Okay, validations control will be here, validation under validation group in toolbox. So to get the toolbox, go to view menu, toolbox. So these are the controls. So I'll just double click it or drag and drop here. So required field validator, go to properties. Okay. Required field validator one, ID is required field validator one. See the options that are available. So we have error message. What error message we want to display? This error message field will be useful when we use validation summary control. Message to display in a validation summary. So when we use validation summary control, a message to display when this validation is failed. So if we are not entering this value and clicking on submit or add button, as this is failed, so to display the error message in the validation summary, we set this property. So the text property, text to display for the validator when the validated control is invalid. So whenever we are not entering this value and clicking on add button, okay, to display the error message, we use text property. To display the error message, we use the text property. So understand the difference, like test and error message. Error message is used when we use validation summary. In all other cases, we use text property. Okay, just that is the difference. Just remember that when we see validation summary, we will understand. Please enter first number. Okay. Right. Control to validate. First, the important properties. I'll give you explanation like error message. When this is the message we display in validation summary, if control to validate is failed. Text. This is message to display the message to display to the user when the control is failed to validate. Next thing, control to validate. What control we want to perform, like this required field validation, to which control we want to perform. So the txt first number is my control ID. So I'm setting that. This is the ID, txt first number. So this text box ID is txt first number. So I'm setting control to validate as txt first number. Okay. Next, set focus on error. If there is an error, if we want to set focus on that control, we can use this property. Okay. So we can set validation group, like to which, like I have 5 buttons here. When I'm clicking add button only, I want to perform validations. For others, I don't want to perform validations. So we can set group to the add button and all these controls, one name to these controls and add button, then when we are clicking an add button, these validations will be performed. Suppose for subtract, I want to perform validation on only this part. Okay, I can set a group name to this and this, then this validation will be performed only on clicking this button, like that. So group of controls to which we want to perform validation. Okay, ID, height, width, all these common properties. So required field validator. So this control is used to check whether the user entered data or not, whether the user is entered data or not in a text box, or whether he selected option or not for a checkbox or radio button or drop down list. Okay, so required field validator, it is used to check whether user entered or selected data or not for a particular control. Okay, if user entered the data or selected the data, it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. So what are the properties we have with required field validator? First thing, error message. This is the message to display in a validation summary when control validation is failed. Text property, this is the message to display when the control validation is failed. Difference between error message and text. When we use validation summary, we use error message. In general, in other ways, in other scenarios, we use text property. Okay. Next thing is control to validate. Which control we want to validate? We will set with control to validate property. Okay. Next thing, validation group. Validation group is used to set a common group for two or more controls. For two or more controls to perform the common setup validations. Okay. Validation group, you can see here. So when we select that, the group to which validators belongs. Okay. Now next, I will add validation required field validations to second number also. See here, I'll go to properties. So I'll remove error message. Please enter second number. Okay. Control to validate txt second number, right? Anything else required? You can clicking add. Do you have any label here? Yes, I have label. LBL result dot text. Submitted. Add clicked arrow. Okay. So this is an example for required field validator. So required field validator is used to validate the control whether data is entered in the control or not. If data is entered, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Okay. We'll see whether I'm clicking add, it will perform or not. I'm not entering anything. Okay, add button is not visible. Just a second. We set visible to false, so I'm changing it to true. Text is add, for color is this. So here we have a tooltip. Okay, that's it. Now add button is visible. So this is the tooltip. See here, enter numbers and click button. So this is the use of tooltip. When we hover on any control, if you want to display some meaningful information or some information related to that operation or that control, we can use tooltip. Enter numbers and click button. So if you see that, so I said that here, tooltip. Tooltip displayed when the mouse is over the control. Enter numbers and click button. So that is the use of tooltip. So I'm just clicking on add button. We will see what will happen. See here, enter first number. Please enter second number. Okay. So I'll just remove these two validations. Just remove this validation. Sorry. See here, I removed validations. I'm clicking on add button. The page is submitting. See here, submitted. Page is getting submitted, but it is not performing any validation. If you want to perform validation and to ensure, we are going to use validation controls to ensure the proper data is entered or fields are filled. We use validation controls. See now, I set validation controls. When I'm clicking it, it is asking, please enter first number, please enter second number. Okay. So this is about required field validation. So if you set red, I'm just setting red color. I'm clicking add button. So it is asking me to enter the first number and second number. Okay, I'm clicking on add button now. So submitted. It got submitted and there are no validations performed as the data is available. It is not restricting me to add them. So this is a way of using. Now I entered only one number. So it is displaying, please enter first number. So I'll enter the first one. So it gone. So I'll remove the second value. When clicking outside itself, it is showing, please enter second number. So it is not allowing me to submit. See here, it is not reloading when I'm clicking it because the validation is failed. So when I enter both numbers, see when I'm clicking add, you will see the loading symbol. See that here also you can see. So request is posting back to the server and response is displaying. Okay. To see that, to see it in a more clear way, I'll show you. I'll put a debugger. Okay. I'll remove one value. See here, I'm clicking add button. When I'm clicking add button, it should hit my button add underscore click event. See, I'm clicking add button, clicking add button. It is not posting to the server. See, it is not hitting here. So I'll enter value and I'll show you. So now I entered both values and clicking add. See, code is getting executed. So when we use required field validator, whenever we enter the data in the control, then only it will allow us to submit the event, submit the page. So this is about required field validator. Okay. Next. So what are the properties we saw? Control to validate, error message, text, validation group. Okay. These are the properties, important properties with required field validator. Next thing, I'll also set color to this, 4 color, red. Okay. Now next, regular expression validator. regular expression validator. I'll drag and drop here. Okay. Now I'll take one more field. Just a second. I'll insert a row below. Here I'll place a text box. Okay. I'll set it as email. So I'll set a name to it, txt email. Right. Txt email. Now I want to perform whether the entered email is in the required format or not. So for that, I'll go for regular expressions. Regular expressions, you can just refer about it. It is a way of writing some expressions which will be used to validate the data. Okay, so it will have some different kind of way writing it. So just a second. Regex, we call it as a regex. Regular expression is an object that describes a pattern of characters. Okay. ఇట్లా ఉంటాయి ఏబిసి అని ఇస్తే మనం ఇచ్చిన వాల్యూ ఏబిసిలో ఉందా లేదా 0 to 9 XY ఇవన్నీ క్యారెక్టర్స్ ఉంటాయి. వర్డ్ క్యారెక్టర్ అయితే ఇట్లా ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తాము. ఏదైనా డిజిట్ అనుకో 0 to 9 డిజిట్ ని /d తో అట్లా డిఫరెంట్ వే ఆఫ్ రైటింగ్ ఉంటుంది. ఒకసారి చూడండి. రెగ్యులర్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్స్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చూపిస్తా. రిజెక్ట్స్ అంటాం, చాలా యూస్ఫుల్ ఇది. సరే చదువుకోండి అంటే రిజెక్ట్స్ ఫర్ పాస్వర్డ్ ఫర్ డేట్. సో ఇది ఒక రిజెక్ట్స్ టు వ్యాలిడేట్ అన్ ఈమెయిల్ అడ్రస్. సో A to Z 0 to 9 we want to allow. So A to Z అని మెన్షన్ చేస్తాం. 0 to 9 any number of values we can allow. So for that we used plus dot ఉండాలి, తర్వాత some values రావాలి, మళ్ళీ నెక్స్ట్ @ రావాలి, తర్వాత మళ్ళీ some text రావాలి, తర్వాత డాట్ రావాలి, మళ్ళీ .com .in అట్లా వస్తుంది కదా. మినిమం 2 ఉండాలి, మాక్సిమం ఎన్ని అయినా ఉండొచ్చు అట్లా. ఇది దిస్ ఈస్ ఎ expression. So this we use to validate. Okay, so for that, so I dragged and dropped the regular expression. So I'll go to properties. So we will see the properties first. So error message, this is used to display in a validation summary text. As this is related to email, please enter valid email. Okay, please enter valid email. Control to validate txt email. I want to perform validation on this control. Okay, we cannot use a single validation control to all the controls, so we have to drag and drop one control for one control, one validation control to one control. Okay, so I cannot use a single regular expression to all 3 text boxes. Right. Next, control to validate. Set focus on error, we can set it to true. Same validation expression. This is a place where we set the expression. So we will have some common expressions here by default. If you want to set expression, we can set that here. So here we have an internet email address. This way we can select this. So it is accepting all the words and then dot and then some word which are repeated and then @ symbol, some word, then dot, again then some text. So we can write any other expression also. So I have copied one, right? So I'm just putting this. Instead of A to Z 0 to 9, I can simply write \W. Okay. So I want to use the existing one. I'll just use it. So this is the validation expression. Which expression we want to validate? The data we entered will be validated against this expression. Okay. All other properties are same. So what are the properties we have? Control to validate, error message, text, validation group, validation expression. Validation expression is used to set the required expression format, required expression pattern. Okay, expression format or pattern with which we would like to compare the user entered data. Okay, if user entered data is matching the our validation pattern or validation expression, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. For that, we are using regex library. Regex is used to write the patterns. So whatever the expression we write, if that is matching with our data, it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. Okay. So I'll show that. See, I'm just entering 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm clicking outside or I'm clicking add button. Just to understand it. So I'm clicking add button. It is showing please enter valid email because this is not a valid email. So I'll slightly change it. Still, it is not a valid email. Now it is valid. So it's submitted. Right? So I'll only type 5. So it is taking. Or I'll only type 1 letter here. We'll see different values. Still it is taking because that depends on the way we set it, the expression we set it. We'll see here. See here. \W plus. So at least one character from A to Z or 0 to 9. Or some optional dot in between. Then after dot, one character between A to Z or 0 to 9. Then @ symbol. Then A to Z or 0 to 9, at least one. Okay. Then dot. Even after @ symbol also, we can give some dot and then some characters. Then .com like that. So I want to perform in a different manner, like I showed you, right? So this one, like.
Sir, your voice was not audible.
Sorry? Can't you hear me? Hello? Somebody is saying my voice is not visible, something like that. I think time is over. We'll close it. See here, now I changed the expression. After dot, I want at least 2 digits. If you observe the expression, after dot from A to Z, there should be minimum 2 to 4, overall 2 to 4. And only A to Z. right? I set multiple, I said 2, still it is invalid. I said 3, still it is invalid because I set only A to Z. So I typed G, only 1 it is. So I have to enter one more. Minimum 2, maximum 4. But the other format is wrong. So right. And what else is the error? Just a second. A to Z 029 dot. So we can take this and we can place here and check. So I'll enter some. The regular expression does not match the subject string. Why? A to Z 029 dot with the rate A to Z 029 dot. Maybe this is not a valid expression, I guess. You said any email address, most of the feedback fits. I think there is some issue with this. Most of the feedback I get refutes that claim by showing one email address that is regex does not match. Okay. Just take other regex exam, regex for email and just check it. Regex for email. So this is about regular expression. So we used a built-in regular expression. So if you want to write custom, we can write. So I placed it, but somehow it is not working. We will see that. Maybe some issue with backslash SLB. I'll give you another one tomorrow. Okay. So this is about regular expression validator. We use regular expressions to validate our data by specifying some expression. So if the expression matches with our control entered data, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. This is not a valid email, so it is returning false. This is a valid email as per the expression that I gave. As it is valid, it is not throwing any error. Okay. So we saw example for required field validator and we saw example for regular expression validator. We will see other validation controls tomorrow. And then I think we can start ADO.NET tomorrow. We will see if I can start. So like the most important topic, either tomorrow we will start or day after tomorrow. But don't miss that. If you miss that, you won't understand further sessions, because the database connectivity and getting the data and all those operations, how do we perform them, will be covered in next sessions. So the next 2 or 3 sessions are more important. Just don't miss them. Okay. That's all for today. If any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, you can leave from the session.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Can I get the previous recording of yesterday class and today's class?
Sure. I uploaded in YouTube, I guess. So I'll share you the link.
Okay, sir. Share it in the group.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.